Greek mythology. Once upon a time, there was a small island where the blue waves of the Aegean Sea gently washed ashore. The island overflowed with the blessings of the gods who had descended from Mount Olympus, the home of the gods. The island was called Cyprus. It was a land where beautiful flowers bloomed in abundance, sweet scents lingered in the air, and the crystal-clear waters of the sea sparkled in the sunlight. On this island lived Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. She was not only known for her beauty but also for her power to captivate the hearts of people with love. The island's inhabitants lived happy and peaceful lives, blessed by Aphrodite's grace. One day, Aphrodite traveled to a small village at the northern tip of the island. There lived a young shepherd named Alexandros. He would run with his beautiful sheep across the green fields every day, and in the evening, he liked to gaze quietly at the starry sky and dream. In his heart, there was someone he loved, but she lived far from the village. Her name was Helena. She lived in a distant town, and although Alexandros had traveled many times to meet her, they had not been able to reunite. That day, Aphrodite was moved by the purity of Alexandros' heart and decided to bestow upon him the power of love. She appeared before him and said, "Alexandros, your love is true. I will give you the power of love. Accept my blessing so that you may reunite with Helena." Alexandros was filled with surprise and joy. "Goddess Aphrodite, thank you. I love her with all my heart. Please, let my feelings reach her," he prayed. Aphrodite smiled and took his hand, saying, "My gift will reside in your heart. The power of love will shine from within you and draw Helena to you." At that moment, Alexandros felt a warm light deep in his heart, as if stars were twinkling inside his chest. He embraced this light in his heart and made up his mind to embark on his journey to reunite with Helena. He left the island and continued on his long journey. Beneath the starlit sky, Aphrodite's blessing filled his heart, and the light guided him. He passed through beautiful landscapes, overcame difficult paths, and finally arrived at Helena's town. However, upon arriving in the town, Alexandros faced unexpected difficulties. Helena had made promises to another, and in his desire for her happiness, Alexandros could not bring himself to speak to her. He wrestled with his inner conflict, unsure whether he should believe in the power of love or prioritize her happiness. At that moment, Aphrodite appeared again. "Alexandros, there is a light of love shining in your heart. That light will certainly reach Helena. You must express your feelings. To love requires courage. Deliver your true thoughts to her," she said. Hearing the goddess' words, Alexandros finally gathered the courage to approach Helena. He looked into her eyes and said, "Helena, I love you with all my heart. No matter the hardships, I will do everything for you. Please accept my feelings." Helena was surprised by his words and deeply moved. "Alexandros, I love you too. The light of love in your heart has reached me," she replied. In that moment, they felt a fateful bond and were surrounded by the glow of love. Aphrodite's blessing united them, and the beautiful scenery of Cyprus was etched in their hearts. From then on, Alexandros and Helena lived happily, believing in the power of love and walking together. Their story was passed down among the island's inhabitants, teaching that love has the power to bring people together. And so, The stars in the night sky continued to watch over their love. For a moment, as they envisioned their happy days, they could fall into a peaceful sleep. Good night. Norse mythology. Once upon a time, in the cold northern land of Norway, there was a mystical kingdom said to be inhabited by gods and spirits deep within the forest. At the center of this kingdom stood majestic mountains, their peaks shining with eternal ice. People believed these mountains were called Yggdrasil, the dwelling place of the gods. One day, a young fisherman named Eric was fishing with his friends on a lake. The lake was striking, with its beautiful blue waters and surrounded by lush green trees. Eric wished to catch a special fish that day and rowed his boat deeper into the lake. As he approached the center of the lake, he saw a mysterious light, a mystical glow emanating from the lake's depths. Eric was drawn to the light and continued to row toward it. Suddenly, the water surface rippled, and a giant fish leapt from the lake. The fish was a beautiful silver color, sparkling like a star. Eric, astonished, tried to catch the fish, but it quickly disappeared into the deep waters. Disappointed, Eric returned to the shore, and as he did, a strange atmosphere surrounded him. At that moment, a beautiful woman appeared before him. She had long golden hair, wore a blue dress, and was the lake spirit, Laguna. She smiled at Eric and asked, "What is it that you seek from my lake?" Eric, without thinking, told her that he had hoped to catch a special fish. Laguna smiled kindly and said, "This lake hides the secrets of the gods. That fish is a messenger of the gods. You cannot catch it, but I shall give you a special gift." Laguna raised her hand and waved it over the water. In front of Eric, a small box appeared. Inside this box is the power to grant your wish. But you must wish with all your heart. Now, use the voice of your heart and say your wish, Laguna said. Eric, amazed, thought deeply about what he truly desired. He decided to wish for the happiness of his family and the prosperity of his village. He raised his voice and shouted, "Please grant us rich fishing grounds so that the people of my village can live happily." The box began to shine, and Eric was surrounded by its light. A warm sensation spread through his heart, and Laguna smiled as she said, "A wonderful wish. Your thoughts have reached the gods. This lake will bring prosperity to your village." At that moment, the lake's surface became calm, and the wind blew gently. Eric was filled with gratitude and thanked Laguna. She smiled gracefully and said, "Now, go home. Your village has already begun to change." Eric rowed his boat back to the shore. When he returned to his village, the villagers were amazed to see a plentiful supply of fish flowing into the lake, and everyone was living happily with smiles on their faces. Eric shared Laguna's gift with the villagers, and they all rejoiced in the newfound abundance. As time passed, Eric became a hero in the village, and his wish, in alignment with the will of the gods, was fulfilled. The village thrived, and Eric built a happy family. Every night, he would sit by the lake and remember Laguna, offering prayers of gratitude to her. And under the starry sky, Eric quietly fell asleep. In his heart, the warm smile of the lake spirit Laguna and the blessings of the gods continued to shine. He journeyed through the world of myths in his peaceful dreams. Thus, the Norse myth lived on through Eric's story, and his village continued to thrive in the hearts of those who wished for its eternal happiness and prosperity. Good night. Egyptian mythology. In the beautiful land of ancient Egypt, by the banks of the Nile River, the stories of the gods quietly breathed life. As the moonlight gently illuminated the desert and the stars sparkled in the infinite sky, various events unfolded in the world of the gods. One evening, the great god Osiris was meditating quietly in his temple. He was the god of death and rebirth, as well as the protector of fertility and agriculture. Osiris wished for the people on earth to live rightly and do good. To this end, he gazed at the night sky and entrusted his wishes to the stars. At that moment, his sister and beloved wife, the goddess Isis, arrived. She was the goddess of wisdom and magic, filled with kindness. Isis sat next to Osiris and comforted his heart. "Brother, what kind of dream would you like to have tonight?" she asked. Osiris smiled and replied, "I wish to see the people happy, loving one another, and living in harmony. I want to imagine them enjoying the blessings of the Nile and receiving the gods' blessings." Isis nodded and decided to use her magical powers to send Osiris' wish into the universe. She chanted an ancient incantation, and the light of the stars swirled around them. In that moment, they embarked on a journey to a dream world filled with the power of the gods. In the dream, Osiris and Isis stood on the banks of the Nile River. The river sparkled, and the moon's reflection beautifully shimmered on its surface. The banks were lined with lush reeds, and cute birds chirped nearby. "Look!" Isis pointed. In the distance, the people of a village were gathered together, celebrating a festival. People dressed in colorful garments danced, sang, and laughed. They were offering special tributes to Osiris, the god of fertility, in gratitude for the god's blessings. Osiris was deeply moved by the sight. "They feel our blessings. Love and harmony are here," he said. In the dream, Osiris and Isis watched over the people's joy, feeling the presence of the gods in their hearts. During the festival, children played, young people danced, and elderly people wore warm smiles. At that moment, the most powerful of the gods, Ra, descended from the sky. Ra, the god of the sun, was a symbol of light and life. His light enveloped the village, giving vitality to all the people. "I illuminate this land and bring prosperity," he said. The people welcomed Ra's arrival, singing and dancing with gratitude. Osiris and Isis, watching their smiles, reaffirmed the power of the gods. They understood that the happiness of the people was the very purpose of their existence. The festival and the dream seemed to last forever. Osiris and Isis spent their time with the people, basking in the gods' light, enjoying days full of abundance and love. But gradually, the night deepened, and the stars grew even brighter. Eventually, Osiris awoke. He returned to his temple and saw that Isis was by his side. He took a deep breath and recalled the vision of the festival in his dream. "Our wish has come true. The people are loving and living in harmony," he smiled. Isis also smiled and gently took his hand. "As we saw, let us wish that the blessings of the gods will reside in their hearts. Let us always watch over them and guide them." Together, they gazed at the starry sky, vowing that as long as the people on earth were happy, the presence of the gods would never fade. The stars twinkled in the night sky, lighting the path from the dreams of the blessed people to reality. And so, Osiris and Isis resumed their meditation. Their hearts were filled with peace, knowing that their love would last forever. The vision of the festival they saw in the dream was deeply engraved in their hearts, becoming a hope for the future. Thus, the gods of Egypt, along with the stars in the night sky, quietly continued to watch over the people. And as you accompany their story, you too will drift into a peaceful sleep. The whispers of the stars will gently guide your dreams. Good night. Indian mythology. Once upon a time, in the vast land of India, there existed a beautiful kingdom where gods and humans coexisted. This kingdom was called Suryapura, and it was dedicated to the sun god, Surya. Each day, the sun would shine brightly in the sky, and the rich natural world embraced the people. However, within this kingdom, there were those who lived with the aid of the god's power, and others who lived disregarding their will. One day, beside a beautiful lake in the center of the kingdom, the wise sage Vasishtha resided. He possessed deep wisdom and was a special being who could speak directly to the gods. People revered him and traveled from far and wide to receive his teachings. One evening, under the full moon's radiant light, the sage Vasishtha was meditating beside the lake. Around him, the stars twinkled, and the wind blew softly. Then, before him, the gods appeared. First, the creator god Brahma manifested. Vasishtha, we have come to entrust you with an important task, Brahma said. He extended a glowing jewel into Vasishtha's hands. It was called Amrita, the elixir of immortality, and it was said that using it, people could obtain eternal life. You must protect this Amrita from the wicked. They seek to use its power to cause chaos, Brahma continued. However, upon hearing these words, Vasishtha grew concerned. To protect this, my strength alone is not enough. I need the help of my friends, the brave gods, he replied. In response to his words, the gods began to gather. The god of war Kartikeya, the goddess of wisdom Saraswati, and the god of destruction Shiva all appeared. Together, they rose to protect the Amrita from the wicked. The wicked ones came, led by the evil demon king Ravana. He was powerful and intended to use any means necessary to obtain the Amrita. The demon king devised a cunning plan to test the wisdom of Vasishtha and the power of the gods. Vasishtha and the gods saw through his schemes and used their foresight to thwart his movements. But Ravana was persistent, challenging them repeatedly. He began to use terrible magic to show off his own strength and oppose the gods. The battle was intense, shaking both the heavens and the earth. Sage Vasishtha directed the gods, and together they fought with all their might. Kartikeya shot flaming arrows, Saraswati used her beautiful music to confuse the wicked, and Shiva struck down the demon king Ravana with his power. With the battle coming to an end, Vasishtha was able to successfully protect the Amrita. He thanked the gods and vowed to use its power for the benefit of the people. Afterward, the people lived healthy and happy lives, aided by the power of the Amrita. The kingdom of Suryapura regained its peace, and the gods continued to watch over the beautiful land. As night fell, Sage Vasishtha once again sat by the lake, quietly meditating as he gazed at the stars. The sky was filled with countless stars, and eventually, he heard the voice of the gods in his dream. Vasishtha, your wisdom and courage have protected the people. Continue to give them light, for their sake." Wrapped in those words, the sage fell into a peaceful sleep. In his dream, God smiled, and a beautiful scene filled with twinkling stars unfolded before him. The people of Suryapura were able to live peaceful days, carrying on his wisdom. Thus, in the land of India, the myths lived on, and the bond between the gods and the people endured forever. The stars in the night sky continued to silently watch over their story. And you, too, were gently guided into a peaceful sleep. Good night. Chinese mythology. Once upon a time, in a faraway land to the east, China, there was a world where gods and spirits lived together. In this world, the mountains soared high, the rivers flowed crystal clear, and flowers bloomed in abundance with the changing seasons. The people, living in harmony with nature, never forgot to give thanks to the gods for their blessings. One day, the Jade Emperor, the ruler of the heavens, was observing the world below. Wishing for the happiness of the humans, he decided to send a special messenger to drive away the evil gods who brought misfortune. This messenger was a god known as the Qinglong, a blue dragon. Qinglong, carrying out the heavenly command, descended to the earth. He crossed great mountains and vast grasslands. His scales shone brightly in the sunlight, and his flight through the wind was as free as the stars in the sky. When people saw him, they clasped their hands together and offered prayers, saying, "Qinglong, please protect us." Qinglong was a kind-hearted god. He wished for the happiness of the people and visited various places to ease their suffering. In the villages he visited, crops flourished, sicknesses were cured, and smiles filled the faces of the people. Qinglong's presence brought them hope and peace. However, Qinglong knew one thing. There was a being lurking on the earth, known as the evil god. This evil god sowed fear and jealousy in people's hearts and caused chaos. Qinglong had to find and bring this evil being back to the heavens. With the help of fairies, Qinglong searched through forests, rivers, and mountains. One night, as he stood by a quiet lake under the moonlight, he heard the voice of the evil god. "Humans are worthless. It is true power to make them fear and control them," the voice said. Qinglong dove into the lake, seeking the source of the voice. At the bottom of the lake, the evil god was hiding. He was a dark, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes and an ugly grin. Qinglong confronted him, saying, "Your evil deeds end here. I will not allow you to instill fear in people's hearts." The evil god laughed at Qinglong. "A single dragon like you cannot stop me," he sneered. But Qinglong gathered all his strength and called upon the powers of the gods to summon a mighty lightning strike. The lightning struck the evil god directly, sealing him at the bottom of the lake. Qinglong then sealed the water and placed a sacred barrier to prevent the evil god from ever appearing again. When Qinglong returned to the earth, the people rejoiced at his return. "Thank you, Qinglong, for protecting us," they cried in unison. Qinglong soared once more into the sky, dancing gracefully under the moonlight. His figure gradually became starlight, scattering across the night sky. From then on, Qinglong continued to fulfill his role in the heavens, while keeping watch over the people below. The people, believing in his presence, gave thanks to him, maintaining peace and tranquility in their hearts. And Qinglong, in return, smiled in their dreams, continuing to watch over them. As the night grew deeper, children fell into a peaceful sleep, hearing the story of Qinglong. In their hearts, they carried his kindness and strength, and with no fear of nightmares, they peacefully dreamed. Thus, Qinglong's story was passed down through generations, and perhaps in the stars shining in the night sky, you may still catch a glimpse of his figure. And in your dreams, you might meet him again. Good night. Aztec mythology. Long ago, in the land of Mexico where sunlight poured down from the sky, the Aztec Empire thrived. The people revered the sun, the moon, the rain, and the stars as gods, and they lived each day in gratitude for the forces of nature. The Aztec gods were said to offer special blessings to warriors, farmers, and merchants. One evening, a young farmer named Traco set out to perform a ritual under the stars, hoping for a good harvest. He made his way to a sacred stone altar on the edge of the village. There, he quietly offered his prayers and entrusted his dreams to the stars. In his heart, Traco held deep respect for the sun god, Huitzilopochtli, who brought abundant crops. Suddenly, a light appeared before him. As if descending from the night sky, a beautiful woman emerged from the brilliant glow. She was the moon goddess, Quilzaqui. She smiled at Traco and said that she had come to hear his wish. Traco, I have heard your sincere request. However, to achieve the harvest you desire, the people of your village must first unite and show gratitude to nature. Before I help you, you must teach them this, Quilzaqui said. Traco took her words to heart and returned to the village. He told the villagers about the appearance of Quilzaqui and explained the importance of giving thanks to the gods and helping one another. The villagers listened to him and gradually began to unite. In their daily lives, they helped each other, sharing the work of tending to the crops and the harvest. The village slowly regained its vitality, and their bonds grew stronger. Each night, Traco remembered Quilzaqui and never forgot to offer prayers of gratitude. One night, as Traco made his way to the sacred stone altar once more, Quilzaqui appeared again. Well done, Traco. Your village has united and continues to hold gratitude in their hearts. Now, with my power, I will bless you all with a bountiful harvest, she said. From that day forward, the village received the blessings of abundance and was filled with joy at each harvest. Traco decided to share this joy with the villagers by holding a celebration. On the day of the festival, they made offerings to the gods, sang, danced, and celebrated the fruitful harvest. Smiles spread across the village, and the stars in the sky watched over the scene. As time passed, Traco became the village elder, and his teachings were passed down through the generations. The village prospered, and the faith in the Aztec gods grew deeper. The people learned the importance of living in harmony with nature and maintaining a heart full of gratitude. One evening, Traco's grandson asked him, "Grandfather, why is it so important for us to give thanks to the gods and help one another?" Traco smiled gently and replied, "Our lives are sustained by the blessings of nature and the protection of the gods. By having a grateful heart, we receive these blessings and live more richly." Hearing those words, the grandson deeply internalized his grandfather's teachings. Looking up at the stars in the night sky, he offered a small prayer. "I will give thanks to the gods and continue to cherish our village." Thus, the land of the Aztecs remained rich and vibrant, never forgetting the importance of living in gratitude to the gods and nature. Beneath the starry sky, they peacefully slept, holding hope for tomorrow in their hearts. The Maya myth. Long ago, during the time when the ancient Maya civilization flourished, there was a village deep within the jungle. This village was called Sukulum, and the villagers revered nature and the gods as they lived their daily lives. Beautiful flowers bloomed around the village, colorful birds soared through the sky, and sunlight streamed through the trees, creating a dreamlike place. In the village of Sukulum, there was a shaman with special powers. His name was Quatri, and the villagers called him the Dream Guide. Quatri communicated with the gods and received messages through the dreams of the villagers. Every night, he gathered the villagers around the campfire, telling them stories of the gods and healing their hearts. One night, when the moon was full, Quatri gathered the villagers and said, "Tonight, I will tell a special story." The villagers, filled with anticipation, sat around the campfire. Quatri took a deep breath and quietly began the story. Long ago, when the sky god Samno was watching over the people on earth, he had a special mission. It was to give life to a child born from the sun god Quetzalcoatl and the moon goddess Ishtar. This child, named Excaitum, was destined to inherit the powers of both gods and bring hope and love to the people. Itzamna chose the place where Excaitum would be born. He found a beautiful spot by a lake, surrounded by pure waters and abundant nature. This place was home to peaceful villagers who loved nature and revered the gods. Eventually, Excaitum was born. He was a special child who could gaze at the stars with his eyes, hear the whispers of the wind with his ears, and feel the heartbeat of the earth with his heart. As he grew, the people around him were drawn to him, and he brought love and wisdom to the villagers. The villagers were captivated by Quatri's storytelling, listening intently to his voice. However, one day, the god of darkness, Xibalba, appeared in the village. He planted fear in the hearts of the people, causing them to fight and bring chaos. Excaitum stood up to protect the villagers. He decided to use his powers to confront Xibalba. Excaitum prayed to the moon goddess Ishtar and sought her help. She gave him a sword of light, which filled him with courage and strength. Excaitum challenged Xibalba to battle. By the lake, he wielded the sword of light and fought the god of darkness. The battle was long and fierce, but Excaitum never gave up. His heart was filled with the strong desire to protect the villagers. Eventually, Excaitum triumphed over Xibalba, bringing peace back to the village. Quatri paused, and the villagers' eyes shone brightly. He continued, after his victory, Excaitum, together with the villagers, looked up at the moon and offered a prayer of gratitude. He celebrated the victory of light and love, giving the villagers hope. From that night on, the village flourished once again, and Excaitum's name was passed down as the guardian of the village. This story teaches us the importance of holding on to hope and cherishing love. Even when darkness arrives, there is light within our hearts. Let us believe in it and move forward with courage. Quatri's voice softly echoed, and the villagers were gently drawn into the world of dreams. The flames of the campfire flickered, bringing peace to their hearts. Countless stars shone in the night sky, and in their dreams, the journey of light with Excaitum began. Thus, the village of Sukulum remained forever wrapped in love and hope. The story of Quatri lived on in the hearts of the villagers, and they were able to spend time with the gods in their dreams. They peacefully fell asleep, knowing they would wake up the next day with renewed hope in their hearts. Good night. The Japanese myth. Long ago, in ancient Japan, there existed a beautiful world where the gods resided. This world was surrounded by mountains, filled with lush green lands, where pure rivers flowed, the winds gently swayed the leaves, and birds sang melodies. In this land of the gods, many events unfolded every day. One of the most famous gods was Amaterasu Amakami, the goddess of the sun, who brought light and blessings to the people. There was a time when Amaterasu hid herself in the heavenly rock cave. When she locked herself away, the world was plunged into darkness, crops stopped growing, and the people were in despair. The gods gathered together to find a solution. After much discussion, they decided to hold a festival to draw Amaterasu out of the cave. The gods gathered, playing lively music and dancing. Amaterasu, intrigued by the commotion, peeked outside through a crack in the cave. At that moment, the gods called out in unison, "Amaterasu, please come out." Moved by their call, Amaterasu finally opened the cave, and a brilliant light illuminated the world. The crops began to grow again, and hope returned to the hearts of the people. Next, Amaterasu's brother, Susanoo, was also an important god among the gods. Though he was a wild and unruly god, he had a sincere heart. One day, Susanoo descended to the earthly realm to challenge Amaterasu. He caused havoc by disturbing rivers, destroying crops, and troubling the villagers. However, deep within his heart, there was a special kindness. One day, Susanoo encountered a great serpent that was terrorizing a village. This serpent was threatening the villagers and stealing their food. The villagers, terrified, called for Susanoo's help. Hearing their pleas, Susanoo gathered his courage and confronted the serpent. After an intense battle, Susanoo defeated the serpent. He then brought prosperity to the villagers to help them recover. Accepting the villagers' gratitude, he gradually opened his heart. Through his experiences with the villagers, he learned the importance of cooperation and living together. His wild nature softened, and the bond with the villagers grew stronger. In this way, the gods of Japanese mythology each had their own roles, helping one another and sometimes conflicting, but always bringing love and hope to the people. The stories of the gods depict the formation of the nation and the growth of the people's hearts. As night deepens and the stars begin to shine in the sky, the stories of the gods quietly continue. Amaterasu shines her light in the night sky, and Susanoo lives peaceful days with the people. Their stories are still passed down and continue to live on in our hearts. Now, you too are part of this story. Let us journey into a peaceful dream wrapped in the gentle voices of the gods. Good night. Celtic mythology. Long ago, in the land of Ireland, where lush green hills and mystical forests stretched across the horizon, the ancient Celtic people lived. They cherished harmony with nature and lived alongside gods and spirits. This land was rich with countless myths and legends that still captivate the hearts of people to this day. As night fell, the moonlight gently illuminated the earth, and the stars began to twinkle in the sky. On this mystical night, the young warrior, Fenian, set out towards Tir na Nog, the land of eternal youth, a place said to be inhabited by ancient gods. With his father's sword in hand, he dreamed of gaining the gods' power and becoming a brave warrior. As Fenian walked under the moonlight, he recalled the legends of the gods. Among them, the story of Ku Chulainn, a god with the wisdom of a sage, lingered in his mind. Ku Chulainn, with the power bestowed upon him by the gods in his youth, defeated numerous enemies and gained fame. His strength came from his courage and wisdom. While Fenian believed in his own strength, he also held a deep reverence for the ancient gods. As he ventured into their realm, a mixture of anticipation and uncertainty filled his heart. Deep inside, he harbored a strong desire to know what the gods wished to convey to him. Continuing on his journey, Fenian arrived at a deep forest. Soft moss covered the trees, and a pure stream flowed gently. He was captivated by the beauty of the landscape and decided to rest for a while. Sitting beneath a tree, he listened closely and heard a whisper carried by the wind. It was the voices of the forest spirits. "Brave one, your heart holds a strong will. You will be the one to lead the way to Tir na Nog." Fenian, listening to the voice, decided to trust in his destiny. He drank from the stream, thanked the forest spirits, and resolved to continue his journey. Eventually, he reached a beautiful lake. The surface of the water was as still as a mirror, reflecting the moon's image. In the center of the lake, a golden island floated, said to contain the gate to Tir na Nog. Fenian found a small boat to cross and set off. The boat moved silently, the surrounding waters calm as if to welcome him. Fenian prayed to the gods in his heart, saying, "Grant me strength. When I complete this journey, I will become a true warrior." Upon reaching the island, he hoped to hear the voices of the gods as he began his slow walk. The island was alive with colorful flowers, and a sweet fragrance filled the air. Before him stood an ancient stone temple, its doors wide open. "Come in," a soft voice echoed from inside the temple. Guided by the voice, Fenian gathered his courage and stepped inside. Inside the temple, silence spread as if time had stopped. As he searched for the god's presence, he moved deeper into the temple. Soon, he saw a goddess sitting before an altar. She had golden hair, wore elegant robes, and wore a mysterious smile. "Fenian, what do you seek here?" the goddess asked in a gentle voice. "I seek strength. Please grant me the power of a warrior," he answered earnestly. The goddess smiled and extended her hand toward him. "The strength you seek lies within you. You must grow, learn, and experience to truly obtain it." Fenian took her words to heart. He understood the importance of not overestimating his own power and the need for humility in learning. The goddess continued, "Your journey has just begun. On the path ahead, you will face many trials. But by overcoming them, you will become a true warrior." Upon hearing these words, Fenian felt a light of hope ignite within him. He thanked the goddess and prepared to continue his journey. As he stepped out of the temple, the moonlight enveloped him, gently guiding him. He boarded the boat once more and began to cross the lake. Now, with the teachings of the gods in his heart, he was ready to walk the path of a true warrior. The stars in the night sky seemed to watch over him, as if illuminating his journey. Ahead of him lay more trials and adventures. But Fenian was no longer alone. The power of the gods and newfound wisdom had joined him. He continued his journey towards the dreamland of Tir na Nog. And so, on that moonlit night, in the quiet forest, Fenian's story began a new chapter. His adventure would be passed down through the generations as an eternal myth. As you hold this story in your heart, may you also embark on a peaceful journey into the world of dreams. Good night. African mythology. Long ago, the land of Africa was ruled by the gods. The vast savannas, the blue skies, and the shimmering stars were the places where the gods resided. Each god possessed special powers and was deeply involved in the lives of the people. Among them, the most well-known gods were Are, the sun god, Nyala, the moon goddess, and Shawani, the god of wind. One night, as the sun set and the moon began to shine in the sky, the villagers were captivated by its beauty. Ra's warm light illuminated the earth, and Nyala's gentle glow quietly embraced the village. The villagers gathered under the moonlight and shared stories. They sang songs to express their gratitude to the gods and honor their blessings. Among the most popular stories was the adventure of Shawani. Shawani had the power to control the wind and could fly freely through the sky. He traveled across distant mountains and rivers, exploring various places. Along the way, he encountered terrifying beasts and beautiful spirits, overcoming numerous trials. One day, Shawani entered a vast desert. There had been no rain for a long time, and the land was parched. The villagers were suffering, desperate for water, and losing hope. Seeing this, Shawani wanted to help in any way he could. He soared high above the desert, calling forth the winds. He created a great storm, gathering the clouds, and finally, the rain began to fall. The earth was nourished, and the villagers cheered in joy. They shouted Shawani's name and praised his power. Satisfied by the villagers' smiles, Shawani flew back into the sky. Back in the village, people gathered around the fire, eagerly awaiting Shawani's return. They continued to share the story of his adventures and praised his bravery. As the night deepened, the stars shone brighter, and Nyala's light became even more brilliant. At that moment, the village sage stood up and said, "Tonight, we will hold a special festival. Let us unite our hearts to celebrate Shawani's adventures." The villagers agreed with the sage's words and began preparing for the festival. They made their special dishes and brought instruments to play. The festival began, and the villagers danced, sang, and exchanged smiles. Shawani's adventure story was told by the light of the fire. Each of them wished, in their hearts, to be as brave as Shawani. As time passed, the night deepened, and the village was wrapped in a peaceful quiet. The moonlight illuminated the village, and the stars sparkled above. The villagers, feeling a comfortable tiredness, returned to their homes. Among them was a young woman named Amina. She was captivated by the story of Shawani's adventure. She dreamed of flying freely through the sky, just like Shawani, to see the beauty of the world. With excitement in her heart, Amina looked up at the starry sky. "One day, will I be able to become like Shawani?" Amina whispered softly. In her heart, the wind of Shawani blew through, and she envisioned a journey of free adventures. That night, Amina drifted into a peaceful sleep. In her dreams, she saw Shawani inviting her, and together, they flew through the sky. She laughed in the wind and felt herself dancing among the stars. In the dream, Amina soared through the sky, crossing deserts and mountains until she arrived at a place where colorful flowers bloomed. There, Shawani was waiting for her. He greeted Amina with a kind smile and made her feel the freedom of the wind. Adventure already resides in your heart. Do not be afraid to fly and create your own story, Shawani's words echoed. Amina, filled with courage from his words, prepared to embark on a new adventure. Eventually, Amina awoke. The morning sun had risen, and the village was welcoming a new day. She remembered Shawani's words in her heart, feeling that a new adventure awaited her. With courage, she made the decision to take her first step forward. In this beautiful land of Africa, there are still many hidden stories. Each one is woven with the blessings of the gods and the hopes of the people. African mythology will never be forgotten, living on in our hearts.